Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Well, holding up pretty strong on the Nifty, 24,475, now up by 130 odd points. Despite all the extremely range-bound trade session and slight choppiness at that, we've managed to hold on to gains. A lot of sectors that have supported the markets throughout the course of the day. Now it's the auto sector that's driving from the front. You can see a 2% uptick on the auto space, so that's clearly leading with the gains. Broader markets, you have mid-caps that are outperforming the market's frontline indices as well, near 2% uptick for that one. Even the Nifty Next 50 stocks are up by 1.5%. You also have oil and gas stocks that are seeing a jump because of the lower crude oil prices, helping some of the OMC stocks and oil and gas stocks at large, pulling up in trade. FMCG, consumer durables, metals, infra, all of these pockets are also doing doing well at this point in time. The Nifty Bank, on the other hand, still remains about 0.25% lower in trade, although it's pulled up from the day's lowest point. It's the private banks that are largely under pressure. This is largely led by Kotak Mahindra Bank post earnings. We've seen over a 5% cut here. And apart from that, there are many other stocks that are actually under pressure as well. Now, when we look at the top stocks on the Nifty, it's clearly the Adani stocks that are coming back in flavor today. Adani Ports, Adani Enterprises, both of them nearly 7% higher. You also have Trent that's moving up about 4% odd, Bajaj Finserv, Shriram Finance. These are the stocks that are actually making the top 5-6 movers on trade on the Nifty. In the F&O space, again, there are a lot of Adani stocks, Adani Total Gas, Adani Green, Adani, Energy Solutions. These are all the stocks that are actually holding up there as well. Let's in fact welcome our guest on board. We have with us Mr. Kunal Rambia joining in, founder of The Streets, to share with us his views on the markets. Welcome, Kunal, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Starting off the week on a positive note for sure, but do you think this rally can sustain, and how are you looking at the markets at this point in time?
Good afternoon, Sakshi. Thanks for having me on the show, and good afternoon to all our viewers also. So if you look at the Nifty, it's again been sideways consolidating since I think around 7 to 8 trading sessions, right? And we are seeing the levels of 24,465 right now. I think the immediate support on the Nifty is at 24,300. Considering that, I think one can initiate buy on the dip. I think that can be good strategy. But if you look at the bank Nifty, I think the pressure continues and the sideways consolidation with negative bias is also again in place. So as we discussed, during the last week also, Nifty is likely to outperform. So I think I'll focus more on Nifty over Bank Nifty as of now.
Okay, got that. But how are you looking at the Adani stocks at this point in time, Kunal? What do you think are the key reasons behind this whole sectoral move that we are seeing? I think all the stocks, if we look at, they're surging up to 13%. So what's fueling this rally?
So I think there was some announcement from the US front on the Adani group itself, and because of which I think all these counters have reacted to it. But nonetheless, the prices are really attractive. We have discussed about Adani Green even in the past, Adani Enterprise, Adani Port. I think they are consolidating since almost 5 to 6 months now and making good base formation on the charts. So though the what we have seen right now is just last half an hour, we saw some kind of profit booking also. Today's high on most of these Adani counters will act as a good breakout zone now. So let's take an example of Adani Enterprise. I think today's high was 2,500. Price about 2,500 can show us the levels of 2,800 also. So yes, very bullish, but selectively again, Adani Enterprise and Adani Green being the first priority.
Absolutely. So there is some unconfirmed news report that suggests that Adani Group spokespersons and representatives and US President Donald Trump's officials are in discussion on seeking some dismissal of the criminal charges in the bribery investigation that was ongoing on the Adani Group, and that's one of the key reasons why the stocks are up. Remember, in the last 1 week we also saw some of the group companies report their earnings as well. Kunal, any key earnings that stood out for you? How would you look at the fundamentals, and in case I have to ask you your top choices from Adani Group, even at the levels that we are seeing right now, what would those be?
See, I think the quarter numbers for Adani Green Energy were looking attractive, and I personally selected this counter itself. Reason number one, the price is right near to extreme low and consolidating since November 2024. And recently, we saw the quarter numbers which are positive for the entire sector. So, considering that, I think Adani Green can be traded as well as invested for. The breakout which I was expecting today was the level was 980, 985, though it is right now come back to 965. So I'll wait patiently for the price to go above 985 with the stop loss of around 925. Then we can invest. We can even trade for this. The immediate targets can be 1200, and the positional targets, looking at the PE valuation, I think can be 1400.
Okay, got that. That's as far as the Adani stocks are concerned. Let me also look at some of the other aspects, which are in the buzz today. Auto space, as I mentioned, is the one that's driving from the front, and you are actually looking at many stocks that are holding up. A 5% uptick on Samvardhan Motherson. Auto ancillaries are moving up. Exide is up by 3%. M&M after its earnings is up by now 3%. Strong set of numbers and a beat on many accounts, especially revenue and margins, that is leading to this momentum. Tube Investments, Bosch, TVS Motor, Ashok Leyland, Tata Motors, all of them are up and about. How would you look at the auto pack right now, Kunal? Any key specifics or trends that you're looking at right now?
See, I'm very comfortable with AutoPeg. The only reason being, when we made a view that I think the Nifty should outperform the Bank Nifty, the only two sectors which came in mind after metal were auto and IT. IT, I personally like Infi and TCS, but in AutoPeg, I think many counters have shown very good volume activity. The first is Maruti. I think we discussed about Maruti last week at 12,000. It's trading right now at 12,465 kind of levels. I think still there is more room for the upside. 13,000 can be the target on this. Tata Motors has still not shown a very good comeback because I think the breakout is still pending, which is at around 685. Considering that as a breakout, if that breakout turns up, I'll switch from Maruti to Tata Motors at that time because risk reward ratio is extremely favorable. So very bullish on the sector, but specifically as of now on Maruti, eventually on Tata Motors.
Okay, got that. That's as far as the auto pack is concerned. What else is buzzing is, the oil and gas sector as well, with the crude oil prices ebbing lower now, Kunal. Where do you think the benefits will accrue, and do you think further upside can be seen on some of the pockets within the oil and gas space, like OMCs, for instance?
Yes, absolutely, and very comfortable with the formations on IOC chart or say HPCL. These counters are showing really good comeback. I think we discussed about IOC near to 130. Look at the price right now; it's at 148, and today also it's up by 3.5%. So yeah, these counters are doing good. I'm wondering why the paint segments are not really participating in this crude benefits here because they are the direct beneficiaries. So I'm watching out for Asian Paint breakout, which is still pending. That's at around 2500. If the counter manages to go above that, I think a good reversal on the chart can be seen with the potential of 7 to 8% on the upside.
Okay, got that. Let's also look at some of the other aspects then, apart from, what we've discussed on the crude benefits. A lot of these gas names that are up today, IGL is up in trade today, Adani Total Gas is up as well. IGL, there is also another trigger. I think the stock is now up 7 odd percent. It's actually targeting a 33% realization by the end of FY26 is what we do know. It's taken a second price hike in this month again. That's another trigger that's working for IGL. How would you look at the price charts of IGL right now? Any further upside that you could pencil in, Kunal?
So, Sakshi, on interesting observation on IGL is that if you look at the data from 2019 so far, this counter has taken the support of 180 mark almost 4 to 5 times. And every time it goes up to 280 and then again it gives up completely. Just 3 weeks back, it made the low near that 180 itself. And now see the price bounce, it's 205. It's a momentum trade. I think one should definitely take this opportunity with the stop loss of around 190. One can go long on IGL itself. And the first target, short-term targets can be 220. If you are comfortable holding this position for next 2 to 3 quarters, targets can be as high as 265 to 270 also.
ठीक है, okay, got that. So that's the view that's coming in on IGL. Let's look at some of the other aspects. Okay, I think retail is something that will be interesting to discuss. Trent today is up by over 4%. 5,300 or thereabouts is what we've seen. Slowly and gradually, it has pulled upward from 4,000 odd levels all the way up to 5,300 odd levels right now. How would you look at Trent right now? Those who missed the previous rally, do you think this is a right time to look at Trent again, or do you think right now they have probably missed the bus from the lows, recent lows that we have seen? And apart from Trent, within the entire retail basket, are you also looking at some other stocks?
So the only counter which we have been trading since quite a long time in our office also is been Trent. Now this counter we started trading from somewhere June or July 23. The counter was trading at 1700. It went up to as high as 8500. There was a linear rally, right? And recent correction from the highs were to the tune of 44%. We saw the counter tumbling down from 8500, 8400 to as low as 4700. People were fearing that it's a downtrend. Now look at the entire last 2.5, 3 years chart. It was a clear higher top, higher bottom with sideways consolidation. If someone wants to play positional on Trent, then keep the stop loss of 4,500 on this. Buy on dip, even at the present level is fine. Buy on dip can be good approach on this counter, and keep buying because this trend is absolutely intact and good volumes have been, seen on the chart near 4,700. So considering 4,500 or 4,700 as a strong support, one can buy. The upside target again can be 6,500 to 7,000 levels.
Okay. Let's look at some of the other key aspects that we can discuss. Okay, let's discuss banks, which are actually now, the laggard space right now in trade today, especially the private sector banks. ICICI and HDFC, they continue to pull higher, 52-week highs for ICICI. But of course, earnings impact on Kotak Mahindra Bank that can be seen continuing to reel under pressure. Within the private sector banks, how are you looking at the opportunities that exist at this point?
So again, I'm just highlighting our previous week discussion. I mentioned that I think the PSU banks can do good from here, and that there is too much on the upside already done on the private sector bank. And what we are seeing now is some kind of profit booking also happening at the elevated levels, at least post the numbers which were posted by Kotak. Now I think the Kotak is sideways consolidating since last 1.5, 2 months time. Support is near to 2025 levels, and the resistance is at around 2200. One should look at option strategies on such counters to make some good regular income from it, like creating strangle with these two mentioned support and resistances with long futures near to 2025. That can be a good approach on Kotak. As far as HDFC and other banks are concerned, they are sideways consolidating, but I would not really buy these banks right now. Rather, I'm getting a lot of comfort on the PSU banking front. I think that can be taken as a short-term trade also, but not comfortable with private banks right.
Okay, got that. Let's look at some of the other key things that we can track for our viewers. Okay, railways and an interesting space that we could discuss within the PSU pack. IRCTC, that's on the bus today. Rail Vikas Nigam, that's on the bus today. Some of the other railway related stocks, Concor, etc., that are also up and about. Railways have actually been laggard when we compare with the defense moves that we've seen over the last 1 month or so. How are you looking at the difference, and what would your ideal approach be here, Kunal?
Being very honest, we actually missed out the entire burst of railway segment. The only reason being, I never expected such kind of outperformance by these counters. But at the same time, the recent correction is not even showing the sell-off actually compared to the entire rally. Just let's take an example of CCL, that's called Container Corporation. This counter is down by around 45% from the highs, made a bottom near 624. But if you look at historical data, April 2023 low was also near to 600. So yeah, there was a too much deviation from the mean in these counters, and they have come down. If someone is already stuck in these counters at the elevated level, I think these are the good levels to think of initiating a buy where good average out can be done. Even on the case of IRCTC, I think good support is 675. Consider these levels as good levels to average out if at all you're stuck. If you want to play the momentum, I think defense is offering good momentum right now. So over railway, I'll still prefer defense. But if someone wants to take an exit on these counters, I think this is a good time to initiate buy, hold it for some good spike, and take up the capital of this entire sector as well.
Okay, and after the recent move on defense, where would you still continue to be confident?
Very comfortable with Mesgaon Dock. Look at the
Okay.
counter again. This has recently moved up and still making new highs. Even in today's trade, it's decently up. It's making good higher top, higher bottom formation. These counters are, why looking attractive is because they are offering clear, immediate supports on the chart, which is otherwise missed out on the previous rallies. So Mesgaon Dock with the stop loss of 2,900, one can hold on. When it comes to say HAL, again, very attractive counter, good support available near 4,450 itself. Consider these immediate bottoms as the support and keep holding, keep buying. In fact, I would say there is a lot of room on the upside for these counters, even from the present levels.
Okay. Fine. Now I want to also understand from you one stock which is the top mover on the Nifty next 50 list. Swiggy. 11% higher in trade today. A remarkable move, a strong rebound from the lows that we have recently been seeing. So far, we have been only talking about how Zomato has been recovering, it's been in momentum, but Swiggy was largely lying low and out of action. Today, there's a very smart rally, 11% higher, 338 kind of levels being seen. Remember, this also comes at a time when the company has talked about their quick food delivery service, Bolt, which is now operational in 500 nationwide cities, and it launched in October of 2024. Now has surged across metros, tier 2, tier 3 towns, and is powered by 45,000 restaurant brands as well. And in less than 6 months, they're talking about how Bolt has powered more than 1 in every 10 food delivery orders delivered by Swiggy. So that's something that is putting the stock higher now, 12% up. It's moving as we speak. Now, help us understand, Kunal, what would your fresh approach be on Swiggy and Swiggy versus Zomato? Again, the key question.
So again, Sakshi, on technicals, we always look at the trend, number one, and number two is the volume activity. Look at Swiggy, even at this elevated level, the counter is down by 45% from the high. In fact, I've answered this question, I think 3 to 4 times since morning today also, that this counter has not really run up. It's just started the rally. That's number one. Second thing, look at the data from February 2025 so far. The charts are still showing lower top, lower bottom itself. The only attractive thing what I find on the chart right now is the volume. Today's volumes are higher than the last 6 months average volume. And I'm talking about daily chart. So yeah, this is a clear buying opportunity. If someone wants to initiate a buy right now, one should initiate only 30% of the buying capacity and wait for the prices to come down if at all they wish to come down. Otherwise, the breakout is placed at 355. If the counter manages to go above 355, the entire downtrend which we saw for the rest of 2020, for the 2024 and 2025, will come to an end, and we might see a fresh trend rally emerging from the levels. So consider support as 325, the breakout on the chart is 355, and place the trade accordingly. And when it comes to the answering, Swiggy or Zomato, I will still go ahead with Zomato because the trend is very, very clear and we have enough data available there, right? So I'll trade Zomato over Swiggy, but risk reward point of view, Swiggy is offering better opportunity right now.
Risk reward is better on Swiggy, but in a long term, Zomato is something that Kunal will be more comfortable with at this point in time as well. But over 13% gains coming in for Swiggy today. That's the one that has sharply risen in trade after a long haul that we are seeing on Swiggy. So keep that in mind, viewers. Let's look at some of the other key aspects. I think one more space that's really warrants our attention today is again the brokerage space and the capital markets related story. Look at what's happening with Motilal Oswal. Another 10.5% kind of a move. It's back above 700 odd levels. It's soaring like never before yet again. You can see Geojit now up 5%. You have also names like, say, IFL Finance that's buzzing, Anand Rathi that's buzzing in trade, 361 WAM. You have also NBFCs like Poonawalla FinCorp, HUDCO, Bajaj Finserv, Paisalo Digital, Shriram Finance, all of them also buzzing in trade. So the entire NBFC come broking space that's actually doing very well in trade. Let's try and understand from Kunal what's happening here and should one really look and prepare for a trade in this space as well. Let's talk about broking stocks first. MOFSL, capital markets related stocks. What would you prefer?
Yes, Sakshi, again, I fail to understand the counters where there is no trend actually. MOSL, it's just come out of its wood and suddenly it's up by around 10.5, 11% in trade today. I will not really be comfortable trading such counters, but if you look at the performance on Geojit Financial, this counter is sideways consolidating with a curve formation right from 11th Feb. This counter has still not surpassed 83, 85 levels. I think these are counters which offers me a lot of comfort because that's where I can see some kind of trend reversing. So I'm in this entire space. I'm very comfortable with Geojit Financial. The counter is right now trading at 78.5. If the counter manages to go above 84, 85 rather, we will initiate a buy at that time with the stop loss as 75. That's 10 rupees stop loss, and the targets can be as high as 110. I will avoid Motilal for now. The only reason being I don't really find any good patterns emerging. If at all the counter continues to go up, above 750 can be a good higher top, higher bottom formation when one can take up the trade.
Okay, fair point. I hope this has answered your question. Let's look at some of the other aspects too. We are looking at some of the other momentum stocks. Let's look at the Nifty 500 basket to see if there are any interesting names there. Easy Trip Planners, 11.8% higher. You also have names like some hotel names like smaller ones. Robust Hotels is up in trade. Then do we have any other interesting names here? NetWeb Technologies post earnings 13% higher. Parag Milk Foods, that's up 14.5%. Again, earnings factor. RR Kabel, earnings factor there, 14% higher. In fact, entire cables and wires segment has got into focus because of, again, RR Kabel's numbers. Universal Cables and others are also moving up in trade now. Kalyani Steels is up by 10%. Ami Organics is up. Sequent Scientific is up. Various stocks. I'm just marking purposely for all our viewers to really see the breadth of the market and the kind of stocks that are doing very well. Liberty Shoes is up 8.5% higher. So you can see the variety of stocks that are buzzing, from tech stocks to new age internet to steel and cement to also names within the broking houses. To hotels, hospitality kind of names also that are also buzzing in trade. Your sense, Kunali Fund has to really pick out some stocks from the Nifty 500 basket. What would those be?
See, I've not really checked the entire basket to be very honest, but the stocks which I was scanning when you were highlighting those counters, I think I am very comfortable with the trend on AMI Organics. Sideways consolidating counter, good volumes happening on the chart, and the counter is trying to reclaim the lost ground. I think the breakout can be placed at around 1250. Above that, with the stop loss of 1150, one can initiate a buy, and the targets can be 1500 kind of levels because this counter is consolidating since pretty long period of time. So that's something which is eye catching for me right now. Easy Trip Planner, which you mentioned, I just checked the counter. Uh, yeah, the formation is again very, very attractive, consolidating right near the low itself. It's a penny counter, but yeah, penny stocks, but the volume activities are massive. So the breakout can be placed at 11, 13 and a half with the stop of 12. One can then initiate a buy, and the targets can be 16 and a half to 17 kind of levels. But I'll be cautious on these first time movers. Rather, will focus more on the counters which are in trend and which are doing good. See, I just got the alert of Swiggy also right now.
Okay, fair point. I hope this is clarified to all our viewers. How should one really look at the broad market outperformers that are doing well at this point in time? Let's come back to a few stocks within. Let's see the sectoral performers at this point in time. Broader markets, mid caps and small caps that are doing very well. Kunal, what's your overview on the mid and the small caps? The concerns of the past, I want to understand now. What's your fresh view there? There was a lot of talk about froth, excesses, overvaluation in mid and small caps. How are you looking at this space right now? Have things changed at all over the last couple of months vis-a-vis what was initially being talked about 6-7 months ago?
See, Sakshi, one thing is very clear that the overvaluations were definitely present, but at the same time, what we saw at that time, and that's what we were trying to highlight multiple times
Yeah.
in our discussion also, right? That the counters have shown the price correction as well as the time correction. Time correction, as in if we just go back and check out Nifty small cap data, Nifty small cap 100 index, somewhere in December 2023, the index was trading near 15,000. Recently, after the correction where it made a bottom near 14,000, it's still trading at 16,000 itself. It's been a 1.5 year of time correction, and the index is down by around 30% from the high. That's time correction and price correction both done. I think at this level, the stock specific approach should be adopted. The trend is intact. The liquidity is enough in the market. The flows have not really stopped in the mutual fund schemes also. And I think the now the people will start chasing the quality of the stocks, right? So stock specific moves are likely to continue. Broader market, index based, I'm still comfortable, and stock specifics can give really good returns.
Okay, got that. I hope this has really gotten us some kind of sense as to how do you approach this space. Let's look at some of the other interesting names. Okay, I was actually sifting through these cable names again. RR Cable, Polycab, Havels. What would be your pecking order with the new set of earnings coming in?
Uh, I'm really sorry, I've not really checked the earnings for these companies.
Okay,
But
okay.
the entire cable space, the only counter which I like and which I am traded since pretty long time is the Phenolics cable. This
Okay.
counter has really come down significantly from the highs and consolidating near 900 levels. The breakout is placed at 940. Above that, again, I'll be into it because this was the counter which gave us really massive trend for the entire year of 2022 and 23. I think this trend is likely to emerge very soon. So yes, the only space in this entire space, I'm tracking only Phenolics cable.
Okay, got that. That's as far as Phenolics cables within the segment is concerned. What else is buzzing in mid-cap space is Paytm. 4% higher. You have PB FinTech also, that's nearly 5% up, with the new age tech space continuing to buzz across the board. Let's also look at, okay, something which we have not discussed, completely overlooked at this point, Pharma. Biocon is up by over 5% today. You also have names like Oro, Glenmark, Natco, Granules, Lupin, some kind of a momentum that's building on. Cipla, Sun Pharma, they have been in momentum for the last couple of days and weeks as well. Your fresh view on the pharma space, and where would you keep your attention?
So very selective in pharma names. The only counter which we have right now created position and which is open is Sun Pharma. Absolutely trending counter. Recently made bottom near 1625, 1630. Right now it's trading at 1835. Still trending. So this is a counter which we have traded. I think the present stop loss on this chart is a 1775. Considering that as a trailing stop loss, one can buy. Targets can be 1925, 1930. Lupin is the counter which we have shortlisted, but the breakout is still pending. It's sideways consolidating. Breakout is at around 2150. So above that, I think one can trade with the target of 2300. But this space, again, I'm not very comfortable because there are no major trends which are shown on the chart, right? So sideways consolidation, random spikes coming in. So only counter which is trending is Sun Pharma, which we love the most and we have been trading. Others we are avoiding for now.
Got it. Okay, last 5 minutes to go before the markets shut shop. Kunal, if I have to ask you, your choices, have you sifted through the market of late, maybe added some more names to your clients list in this kind of a recovery in the market? Where are you more confident of in key stocks?
Agri stocks and I think agri related stocks can do well because now we are heading for the monsoon season and as the prediction starts coming in, I think those can do good. So the one counter which we have discussed in the past also and I'm recommending again is the Kaveri seed. I think
Okay.
at 1445, 1450 this counter is looking very attractive to me. If this counter breaks the low of 1375, 1350, then I'll turn cautious. But till then, I'm absolutely comfortable holding and even buying on dips. So with the stop of 1350, one can buy this counter. The targets can be 1650 to 1700. The second counter which I like the most is Adani Green, which we already discussed. I think if the counter manages to go above 985, 980 kind of levels, then with the stop of 960, one can buy, and the targets can be as high as 1200. Now, these are all positional views which I'm sharing. And the third is JK paper. Sideways consolidating with positive bias right near the support with the stop of 305. One can buy, the targets can be 355 to 360. These are the three positional bets which we are as of now eyeing and recommending our clients also.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Kunal, for being with us on the show today and helping us navigate through
Absolutely
all
my
the
pleasure.
opportunities.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
and hope
much.
you have a great time till the time we see you next. 24,471. So it remains absolutely range bound, holds on to the position, half odd percent higher on the Nifty. The chart seems extremely choppy, but it's a very, very narrow band. If you look at how we opened and closed, it would be probably like a doji candle that would be made, which means that, the opening and the closing levels are nearly around the same levels. So keep an eye out on that. We'll also look at how some of the stocks are moving up. Adani stocks, like we already discussed with Kunal, continue to roll up higher. Adani Enterprises is the top mover today, 7.5% up. Adani Ports is about 6.2% higher. Trent, Shriram Finance, Bajaj Finserv, those are the stocks that are the top movers. On the lower end, Kotak Mahindra Bank now ends with 4.5% losses. JSW Steel continues to reel under the pressure that built on from last week on the news flow of Bhushan Steel, 1.8% lower. ONGC, State Bank of India, Titan, Dr. Reddy's are the other top laggards. among the sectors, barring the Nifty bank and the private banks, rest all of the sectors managed to pull themselves up into the green. And you can actually see autos driving, in the fastest lane, 1.9% higher. Midcaps up by 1.8%. Oil and gas up by 1.7%. FMCG, infra, metals, consumer durables, all of them upwards of 1% gains that can be seen across the board. Even the PSU stocks, for that matter, 1.2% higher for the index as well. HPCL drove 7% higher, led by the lower crude oil prices. IOC about 4% up, BPCL about 3.5% up, HAL 2% higher, IRCTC, BHEL, Power Grid as among those stocks within the PSU baskets that continue to show you the kind of momentum that we have been seeing. And let's also look at how some of the other stocks are also moving within the F&O band. Adani Total Gas tops the charts, 11% of a move on that front. Let's also look at some of the other names like Indraprastha Gas, Adani Green Energy among those stocks that moved up higher in trade within this basket. Even HPCL KEI Industries was another one that moved up to in this space. On the lower end, Kotak Mahindra Bank again, Torrent Power, Shree Cement, Jubilant Food Works down by 2% odd. Macrotech Developers, Oracle Financial Services, those were the top drags in the F&O basket. I hope this has largely given you a sense of how the markets should shop as we move forward. Of course, all eyes will be on how the earnings pan out for the markets. And of course, we will see how the Asian and the US markets also react overnight to give us cues tomorrow. Remember, Asia markets, most of them were shut today on account of a holiday. And we will see 2 days of a move clubbing in on Asian markets, and that will in turn give us some cues for tomorrow. Remains to be seen whether we can actually build on beyond 24,460, beyond 24,470, and sustainably come above 24,500 is something that we will have to watch out for. We'll leave you at that, viewers. Thank you so much for joining in throughout the market coverage today. But do stay tuned. Business Today Television will continue to get you all the news and updates from the world of business and economics. Stay tuned.